Yeah, real voices, real talk. Yeah. This is the Just Talk Black Show with DJ Purpose. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. sharp. Every story, every struggle, every win we claim. We speak it loud for respect on our name. Yeah. Let's talk black, we shine, we grow. Building up the people every Thursday on the Just Talk Black Show. From pain into pride, let the whole world know we're unfiltered, unite. Just Talk Black Show. We speak on the struggles, we celebrate with voices from the block to the boardroom within. Our stories connect us, it's deeper than chat, it's love, it's respect.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Just Talk Black Show. And if you are new to the Just Talk Black Show, I just want to welcome all the new guests. If you are new, let me just see a thumbs up in the chat. If it's your first time ever on the Just Talk Black Show, I would like to welcome you. And I'm your host, DJ Purpose, one of the hosts on the Just Talk Black. And today, guys, I'm telling you, today is going to be another topic, which is going to be absolutely amazing. So if you've got your friends and your family, you know what, pick up your phone and just text them and just send them the link. If you've got the link to this, just send them the link and say, you know what, the Just Talk Black show's on today. And we are going to be touching on black education within the education system of the school system. And just a general across it, you know. So, as I said, welcome you to the Just Talk Black Show. We are here each and every Thursday. We are literally live here each and every Thursday. We are live here, guys. So, you know, what I always say to people, if you are new, subscribe. Subscribe. What that does, guys, it helps us to push the channel out further to many more people. There are people out there who don't even know about the Just Talk Black Show. And with your help, guys, we can push this out to reach a bigger, further audience, which will be good, you know, and which what we need to do. So let me just go on to next week's show for you guys and let you know a little bit what we are doing next week. So next week on the Just Talk Black Show, we are going to be having Leon Brown. We're going to be talking about Forex trading and exposing the hype, or is it the real path to financial freedom? So that we would literally be talking about Forex trading. So if you are interested in Forex trading, it will be a topic that you do not want to miss. So subscribe, and when you subscribe, you will get that notification to say that that you're literally gonna be one of participation in it. So just welcome all the newbies. I'm a newbie here and happy to be here. Wow. Welcome you, salute to you. You know, thank you for joining us today on the Just Talk Black Show. Really do appreciate you guys. And that is it as well, guys. You can participate in today's show, and that is going to be very straightforward. You can do it in the chat on YouTube. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can basically participate, put your questions in the chat, and we see we can get them answered for you today. Also, we will have a phone in line which you can call in as well, which you can see on my right hand side, which is 07471539533. And just to tell you a little bit about, I'll just tell you a little bit about the Just Talk Black Show. This is a black education. When I say education, I mean, we're not even going to just call it education. We're going to call it the Black Chat Corner, where we dive deeply into all situations within the black community. And as we've got some newbies, go and check out the channel, Just Talk Black Show, and go and look at some of the chats that we've had. We've had before people talking about godparents. We've had a guy talking about godparents. We've had somebody talking about purpose. We've had somebody talking about trauma. We've talking about bereavement. There are so many topics. We've even had 5 guys talking about what it is to be a black man in the UK. We're also talking about last week what is it about why we don't support black owned business? So check that out on YouTube, and as I said, this is a space where our voice matters and our story matters. And our experience as well, finally, it matters as well. So today we're going to be asking a question that many haven't been thinking about for years. Where are the black teachers in the education system? So, that's across the UK. There are thousands of black teachers working in the classroom every single day, educating children, supporting families, helping and shaping the next generation. But when we look at the top of the education system, the leadership position, the numbers tell us very different stories. So why is it? Is there a pipeline problem? Is it opportunity, or is it something deeper? Because we need to be represented in this matter. So when a child walks into school and never sees someone who looks like him or look like her, in leadership, it sends a message. So today we're going to open up this conversation, not with anger, not with blame. So not with no anger, guys, not with no blame either, but just being honest, because the future of our children depends on our conversation. We are brave enough to have today. So just remember, this is a show too, guys. Just remember that, we're not doing no blame games. We're not doing no anger or hating or none of that. This is not what it's about. It's about a solution. What is the solution? How can we get more of our people into education? And if you have a story or question, or you've experienced it and you like to share, the phone line is, as I said, it's in the bottom right hand corner. So you can call in when I open up the phone lines to you guys. I will let you know when the phone line's open. But today we have a deputy head teacher who is going to be talking about her experience in the education system. So this is going to be a very interesting topic. So I'm just going to bring our guest in today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Can you tell the audience who you are and what is it that you do?
So I'm a deputy head teacher in London. So I work for quite a large school, and I've been in education for 20 years now. And my main thing really is to make sure that children feel safe, feel seen and heard, and that they know that they are capable of doing things. So I also have a podcast, Voice in Education, and it's a platform where I interview various different leaders and people in education to kind of give a voice out there so everybody knows that they can aspire to do great things in education. So it's aimed mainly at middle leaders, so those aspiring to go into leadership. And the main thing is really for them to see that there are there's a wide range of pathways into leadership, and that's what the platform's for, to inspire and empower.
Okay, and where can people find your platform as well? Where is it? Is it on YouTube? Is it on Instagram? Is it on Spotify? What's it on?
All right, so the podcast is Voice in Education, the podcast. So you can find that on Spotify, Apple, or anywhere where you listen to podcasts. But I also have a website, so it's simply voiceineducation.com, and everything's on that platform there.
Wow, absolutely amazing. Just tell us a little bit about, I want to know a little bit about your podcast, because this is interesting. How long have you been running your podcast, and what are some of the conversations that you've had so the audience could get sort of like a feel into that podcast, what you do?
So the podcast was born in 2021. So it came out as a kind of like a project that I was working on during COVID. So it was born in 2021, really to support, like I said, middle leaders. So those people that are moving from the classroom into middle leadership, or they may be balancing both. And what I realized at the time, going through COVID, that there was so much going on. It was very hard to find a balance. People wanted to progress, but there was not really clear pathways, or they didn't have the access to other people to kind of find out how they could find their way into leadership. So that's where that was born. So the series that I've looked at women in education. So I've looked at kind of different groups as I've gone along. So women in education was the first series, then second series, black men in education. The third one was looking at motherhood in education and what that actually looks like for leadership, because it's very different for different people. And then I've had other series since then as well.
Okay, so I know it's a bit, going off like what we're talking about today, but I want to know about the motherhood in education, because I think that's a very important topic for mothers who are mothers and are in the education system. So, what did you find when you was doing your podcast of some of the conversation or some of the struggles that the mothers face of being black and going into education, or not even just being black or black and white, just doing struggle? What were some of the struggles that what they was telling you?
So some of the struggles were the key themes that went through. One, that all of the women, so there's 9 women, nine
Yeah.
mothers that I interviewed, all of them had the same thing. They all wanted to aspire. So they wanted to be a mother and a leader. So that's the kind of the intersection that we looked at, that you can actually do both, that
Okay.
one doesn't have to come at the cost of the other. You can do both, and there are different pathways of doing that.
Yeah.
So we looked at the legislation around going back to work after having your child. So thinking about maternity leave, how can you access professional development on maternity leave? What's it like when you actually do go back into the classroom or back into school? Do you have the flexibility in terms of, leaving school earlier, for example, that work-life balance, that common mum guilt that they experience, going for jobs, will they be taken seriously because they have a child? Will people be looking at them thinking, oh my gosh, they might fall pregnant again? What's going to happen to their career? So, all of the episodes was mainly around that. And the common theme that came through is that you can do both. It does come up at a cost. You do
Yeah.
have to kind of balance your work and your home life, but it can be done. All of those women prove that can be done.
Absolutely amazing. And I just want to thank you again. I want to really thank you for coming on the Just Talk Black show, and doing this podcast, so I really do want to, first of all, thank you for coming onto the podcast. So I want to ask you the question, what first pulled you into education, and why did it matter to you so much?
Well, to be honest, I was always drawn to the idea that one adult can completely change the trajectory of a child's life. So that's the main reason why I went on. Everyone thinks, when you go into education, oh my gosh, I need to save the children, I need to save the children. But if you just think about it, if you just save one child's life, and I say save, I mean change the directories, change how they're thinking, the opportunities that they can go to, then you're a winner. You can't change them all, just need to focus on one. And you never know when you're going to catch them either. So it's fantastic. So growing up, you realize quickly that when you're in school, some people advocate for you, some people don't. So I saw that growing up. Some people are for you, some people aren't. Maybe it may be intentional or not. So that's the reason what pulled me into education. One, I care for children. I want to see people grow up and do the best that they can be. So that's kind of the main reasons why I went in education. And it felt like a space where can make a tangible difference every single day. Because when you're in a school, no 2 days are the same. There's going to be various different issues. The same child may have different problems coming into school. They may be happy one day, not the other. So we're looking at that behaviour and thinking about how you can build relationships, not just with one child, but, with many children if you're in the classroom. And again, if you're in leadership, how can the decisions that you make impact those children? So, that responsibility mattered to me. And so that's essentially why I went into education.
Oh, love that. Absolutely. Love that. Absolutely. So when parents hear the word school, what do you think they misunderstand most about schools? That's an interesting question. Very interesting one.
It's a good question. So when I'm going to pull it out to when people hear school, right?
Yeah.
So when people hear school, they think of just, you're going in to get the grades. Now, when parents hear school, it's the same thing of their child or children, and thinking, it's a responsibility for the school to give them academic success. But what they don't see is that all of the invisible things that aren't tangible, we're in school, the teachers, the leaders making decisions all of the time. How can we make sure that this child is succeeding? How can we make sure that this child is making progress? So they don't see the well-being that we're doing, the safeguarding that we're looking at, making sure that their children feel safe, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. If the child doesn't feel safe, they're not going to learn. The well-being of the child, how are they when they're actually in school? What is it that they've been asked to do? Can they cope with it? Thinking about all of those things, the family circumstances, the behaviour, that's all important. All of those things are invisible. They don't by parents when they come and collect their child at the end of the school day. They say, "Oh, hi, did you have a good day?" And off you go. But they don't see all of the balls that we're juggling in school as teachers, leaders, everybody, every stakeholder with are at the end of the day making sure that the child feels safe so they can learn and aspire to be what they may not know or what they can be, reaching their potential.
Wow. So sometimes the parents don't see of what goes into the background of what you teachers actually do, which I think is more important. And how can we bridge that gap of letting parents understand a lot? Because I've got to know, and after doing this podcast, I've got to meet a lot of teachers and speak to a lot of teachers, and that the pressure that comes with it, sometimes as parents, we're quick to blame the school and the teachers, but some of the parents don't really see the pressure or how their child might behave in the class or what a teacher has to do. And I've seen mentally people, when they finish school, some of the teachers, it's like the kids were fighting in school today, they were doing this, they were doing that. And that could, when they go home as a teacher, sometimes that pressure as well is gone home with them as well, of how the children behave in the class. And so how can we bridge that gap for more parents to sort of understand of how teachers feels? Because I think that's important of, as a teacher, to get that across to some parents who don't really understand. They just see, I'm sending my child to school, it's your responsibility, and that's it. But there's so much pressure on teachers that I've seen, meeting so much teachers. How can we bridge that gap so parents could get a better understanding of what you teachers actually do in schools?
I think it's simply kind of thinking about when they send their child to school, what they need to see is that it's a two-way relationship. We want the best things for their child, just like they do. So in terms of communication, we've got to keep that channel open. That's the gap. The bridge is communication. Okay.
Yeah.
So communication is coming in and out. Like, we communicate out to the parents what's going on, how their child's day has been. But equally, we need to understand where that child is coming from so we can meet that child where they're at. Do you understand what I mean?
Definitely.
So I think sometimes where you don't have that relationship with the parents, then that's where the gap becomes, because it then becomes where you go to communicate with the parent, and it might be that you're delivering a difficult message, which sometimes you need to do. And then it's harder. If you haven't got that relationship, then it's going to fall flat, isn't it? That's the gap, right? It's going to just drop. Yeah. It's very hard then to kind of pick up the truth and what's actually really going on. So I think it's really important that educators and parents work together so they're on the same page. And sadly, sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's where I see the problems arising. And children can play into that, and that's where things can go awry.
Yeah. No, definitely. As I said, doing this podcast, I've met a lot of teachers and really get an eye opening of what going to school, and I think that for me was really an eye opening of how much pressure is on you guys on a day-to-day basis, to walking through the gate. Sometimes our parents just come straight and you're just walking through the gate and the parent comes up to you straight away, and you're not prepared or anything. So I do salute all the teachers who are out there doing a wonderful job. And I just, really taken aboard of what you've just said a minute ago with communication. And I'm hoping through this conversation that we happen, that there are parents and listening today, and we'll try to bridge that communication and have that relationship with the teachers, because I think that's important for their kids to be good in school and for the teachers to be all right. As you said, that communication is so important. So, which is good with what you're saying. But I want to turn...
sorry.
No, go on.
Now, just to add to that, I think we need to understand, if we're all coming at it from the same perspective where we want the best for the child, then it's okay. We're on the front line as educators, so we're taking the brunt of sometimes the way things are being put forward to us.
Yeah.
But I think if parents are wanting to understand a bit more, other than just having a communication, they could actually be parent governors.
Okay.
Sign up when there's a gap or a vacancy. Become a parent governor. Ask those questions. Understand the school system. Understand how it works. The things that are in place, all the policies, Do they know why we're making decisions? So sometimes when we make a decision in the classroom, for a parent, they kind of question why we made that decision. If you were a parent governor, you might kind of understand the system a bit more. You can also come in and volunteer as well.
Yeah,
Just be aware, just be involved in the school community. And I think that in itself will give a widen their eyes to understanding and bridge that gap as well as education.
that's good.
Communication.
So growing up, how did education make you feel? How did education make you feel growing up?
So I loved I loved education. So it was a mixture of things as well, I suppose, depending on the moment. But I love learning. I can't say I loved. I'm a continuous learner, so I'm always learning. So education for me made me feel safe. So when I was in school, I felt safe, but I had the benefit of going to a school where our family were known. So I'm the youngest. So when I went to school, I was the last one coming through. So I had the benefit. It was a Catholic school as well. So I went to two different schools. So I'll talk about the first school first. So when I was there, the nuns knew my mum and my family. So I
Yeah,
felt supported. And it just goes to show why the communication and relationships are important. Because if anything went wrong, or if I was feeling upset about something or something was going on, they were able to talk to my mum, converse, and that was resolved.
mm,
Now, when I moved to a different area and I went to a different school, it was a bit different where I was on the periphery. So that kind of gap was there where, the communication wasn't as strong because we didn't have that relationship. However, I was still able to succeed because I had that foundation. Okay. So I always felt supported and safe. But I think what that came from was that confidence that was instilled with me from my first school. And I
yeah,
think it's really important that you can start this from quite early on, from home, but in foundation years, like in reception, giving the children the confidence to ask questions, to say how they feel, use their voice to kind of speak up for things. That carries weight because that child, as much as they may be young, we have to see children as young people. They just haven't been on the earth as long as us, right?
yeah.
They still understand themselves and their feelings.
That's right.
So I think we need to respect them in that way. So I also understand that when I was at school, sometimes people didn't quite, always felt sometimes that they didn't get me because I was quiet. But then what I did was like, I just used that to my advantage. Just because I was
Mm,
quiet didn't mean that nothing was going on. And I think that's particularly why now I kind of advocate for those quiet children at school. So I make sure that quiet children feel seen, they feel heard, because I know that just because you're not talking out as much, it doesn't mean that you are not processing things and things are going on in the background. And, there was a study that I think it looked at, the study, I think it was 2022 or in 2020, that looked at children, about 700 children, and it looked at them being quiet and what their how they achieved. And what it said was that chatty children make more progress. But I think it's important to remember that chatty children may make more progress because they're making those connections and asking questions and so on.
yeah,
However, you can encourage those children that you may label as quiet or shy to come out of their shell if you just build that relationship first. So I was lucky, like I say, to be able to have formed those great relationships with teachers. And so I think when you think back to education and I think about the links that I make now, I think every classroom has children that feel invisible, but the great educators notice them. And I wanted to be one of those.
absolutely. I love that, and it's important that people sort of understand your background, how you've developed, and what you see school system, some of the things that you see as well. But I want to hit the main topic of today. Black leaders in education, and let's talk about the big question: why are there so much few black head teachers in the UK?
Well, when you look at the statistics, so there are 22,000 head teachers in the UK, right? 1.2, it's about 1.2 to 1.3 of those are black.
Yeah,
Now, the question that you're asking, why are there so few? Now, I think we need to kind of look at, so you don't just get to the head teacher, you've got to have
the
the
pathway.
pathway beforehand. So I think it's important to recognise that there are a number of black teachers in the education system. But I think the reason why there may be few is because the opportunities that are presented for them are few and far between. Okay, so the talent is there. The talent is evenly distributed, right? So
Yeah.
the same talent that you have in the Black community or any other cultures is there. It's evenly distributed, but the opportunity is not. Okay, so just like any other industry, when you're wanting to get promoted or so on, sometimes you may socialize, and decisions are made sometimes out of the school environment or the work environment. And I think it's important to note that many educators as well that are currently in those leadership positions, if they don't kind of understand the culture, or there's how do I put this, the understanding isn't always there, then it's very difficult then for the Black head teachers to kind of, or Black teachers to kind of aspire into leadership, because usually what you do is sometimes what happens is that unconscious bias comes through. So you're usually, not intentionally, but what may happen is that you, how do I put this? Sometimes decisions are made that don't favor the people that don't look like you. Yeah. Sometimes when you, as a Black educator, when you do go for things, because someone may not understand the way that you're coming at things, it may be misinterpreted differently. Okay. Like I say, the opportunities aren't always there, but the talent is. So there are, I'd say, organisations like Aspiring Heads, which is run by Ethan and Nadine Bernard.
Yep.
Nadine Bernard is a Black head teacher that works in London, and she set up an organisation which actually runs a programme to promote and train and mentor and coach Black leaders into Black senior positions or Black headship.
Yeah, I know the dean. Grew up with her actually.
Oh,
Grew up
did
with
you?
her. Yeah, grew up with her. So big shout out to her. She's doing wonderful things. I see the things that she's doing, and it's needed. It is definitely needed. Definitely. So what she's doing is good work out there. Definitely tell people to check it out. What's her company again? Tell people what the company's called.
Aspiring Heads.
Aspiring Heads. So if you are a head teacher or you want to get into head teaching, definitely check Nadine out with what she's doing. Amazing stuff. So what barriers are Black teachers facing when they're trying to move into leadership roles?
Like I said, it's the access to opportunity.
Access to opportunities, the access.
Yeah, the
Okay.
talent is there, the opportunity isn't. It's quite simply like that. So leadership, like I said, it comes through informal networks. So I think it's important that you are in the right room with the right people, because people are always talking about you. So
Yeah.
what you need to do is be there, being a good role model, talking about the right things, being around the people that make those decisions. So when a position comes up or there's a talk of a position, your name is mentioned. That's what needs to happen. You just need to be around those people that are making those influential decisions.
Yeah. So you need to get in a room where your name needs to be sort of mentioned in that room in what you're
100%.
doing.
And you need to be part of the networks, because nothing is done alone. So for example, you've got aspiring heads, you've got the Black Teachers Network, you've got
Yeah.
Black Teachers Connect, you've got Black Men Teach. All of these different organisations and companies are there to kind of create that system where you can learn from others. So you can learn what pathways they took. For example, you could listen to the podcast, that series that I had, Black Men in Education, that's series 2. Listen to that. There are different pathways. There is no one right way into senior leadership or headship. However, what we've got to do is make sure that we kind of learn from each other, because there are pitfalls, and we just learn how to navigate those. But you have to do it as a network. You can't do it alone.
And I love that what you're talking about. So it's about your network, and you have to, if you are, say, you're a teacher or something, you have to be in a room, as you're saying. You have to be able to network and join these sort of groups that are helping to push the Black leaders into education higher up in the board. I think that's very important. I think that goes across anything you do in life, any sort of businesses that you do. You need to get your name out there. You need to be in the rooms. You need to be in group. You need to be showing, just like this podcast. If I don't get into certain social media, certain things, how do I get out there? So I love what you're definitely saying, and I agree 100% in what you're saying. You need to sometimes push yourself out there, get yourself out there, But some people say the system is unfair. Others say it isn't. From your experience, what is the truth from your experience?
Well, I think, right, in education, I think what most people want is that in education they want fairness, right? That's the
Yeah.
truth. That's what they want, fairness. But systems can still produce unequal outcomes, right? We know that. Even when individuals have good intentions, like I've spoken about the unconscious bias before, right? So when I think back to your question, some say it's fair, some say it isn't. It's all about perspective, isn't it?
Mm.
When you think about a group, right? So we're a group of Black people. 3% of the teachers, right? There's 3% of us are teachers, but only 1% of us are head teachers. That speaks for itself. So something in the pipeline isn't working. So I'm going to leave that as a question for everybody else, right? Say it's
Mm.
fair or not. So if there's 3% of us, right, are teachers and only 1% are head teachers, going back to your question, is that fair or unfair?
Yeah. So we'll leave that for people to
Yeah.
really answer, And I think it all depends. It just all depends on, as you said, what are you doing? Because some people want those roles, some people go for those roles, but what are you doing? Are you preparing right? Are you answering the questions right? Are you thinking ahead about what the school is? Are you doing your research on the school? Some people just turn up. So there's many different aspects to it. So as you said, leave that question to them. What's this leader? A Black woman can be lonely place. Do you agree with that?
I do, but I think, like she says, without a network around you, right? So,
Mm.
yeah, I'm assuming it's a lady.
Yeah,
Yes,
Michelle, yeah.
I think leadership is lonely. Let's widen it out a bit. Leadership is lonely.
Yeah.
Now, going back to statistic, all right. So if you think about 1% of us are head teachers, yeah, 1% is head teachers, and I would say probably a similar sort of percentage, maybe a little bit more. If we widen that a bit more, I'm going to guesstimate and say let's go in the median. 2% are in senior leadership. Now, it is going to be lonely, but this is why it's important that you reach out and you connect with others. Yeah, it's really important that you go onto, for example, if you're listening, go onto LinkedIn, reach out to other people, join networks like Aspiring Heads, talk to people, because what you find really is that everyone's willing to help each other. There's so many people out there that are willing to help you. So you might feel lonely within your establishment, within your school. But when you actually reach out to these groups, you realize that everyone is feeling the same, but everyone is there as a network to help and support one another. So I would do that. I would advise to do that, because that's what I've done, and
Yeah.
it has really made an impact.
Wow. So, how does the lack of Black leadership in school impact the Black students? What impact are they getting from it?
The lack.
Yeah, the lack. So how does the lack of Black leadership in school impact the Black students?
Well, I think it's the common thing. If you don't be represented in leadership, it's very hard, or anywhere. But let's talk about. So we're talking about leadership.
Yeah.
So I think it changes subconsciously as well. It changes how you kind of view yourself in terms of what you can achieve. If you see, like, for example, when Barack Obama came into power, all of a sudden everyone's thinking, yeah, I can do that. So you need to see it to be able to know and believe that you
I
can
love
do
that.
it.
I
If you don't
absolutely.
see it, you can't achieve it. Do you see what I
I,
mean?
I love that. Say that
So,
again.
you
Say
know,
that again. I love that bit with Barack Obama. I love that bit. Can you say that again? I love that. Absolutely love that.
I think I did. I think I did. When Barack Obama became president, everyone started to kind of think, yeah, I could do that. I can do that. Young children. Do you remember on YouTube
Yeah.
there was a
Yeah.
little boy, the little president, and he had those videos. He started to believe that he could do it. Everyone was buying into that. So all it takes really is for more fun, seen, to be in these positions, that we can have the impact for our, our culture or our children to be able to see us, so they know that they can do that too. It may not be just in education, but if they see us teaching them, they know that they can relate to us and that we understand them as well. So it's not just about being seen, it's about the understanding, as that we may have had the same experience as them. We kind of understand things culturally, we understand the decisions that they may be making, the behaviors and so on, all those subtleties that are so important. So without having more black head teachers, more black people in senior leadership, then it is going to come out as a problem for our black children, because they're not being represented. And even when you're young, you don't know that. You don't know why you might be feeling a certain way. It's because you're not being seen.
Yeah.
So you've got to kind of think. I kind of think of it like this. So if we want we talk about role models. If we're saying that we want our black children to kind of do well, then we've got to kind of think of us as leaders. And I'm talking about in society. I'm not just talking about head teachers, because it's not just down to the schools here.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
We think of us as elders to be able to set the way and be role models in all various different ways of life. I just think it's so important. So, if we think about children, need mirrors and windows. So mirrors to see themselves. Okay, so they need to be able to see themselves, and then they need to see the windows of what they can become. Right, it's very, very important. So that's what I think anyway about that.
No, definitely. I think what 100% in what you're saying. I remember the time that I was in school, and I was very naughty in school. Actually, very naughty. Always got in trouble in school. But I remember, and this is just me being honest, it's the black teachers who really took the time to really. Put it this way, they understood me. They got me. Yes, I was very naughty, but they knew a way of how to talk to me. And that was a black male head teacher and a black female teacher. I can remember those two teachers even to today because of the impact they had in my life at school. The other teachers didn't really, they just said I was just naughty and that was it. But I remember those two teachers really taking time and really sitting down, and even during my lunch break, having a conversation with me and telling me and trying to inspire me and say, you can do better. You're going through this now, but, trust me, you can do good, and anything you need to know, anything you want, come and talk to me. They took their time. Really took their time. They didn't just see me as a naughty child, which most teachers did, just see me as a naughty child. Those two teachers, and I saw one of the teachers way back ago and just had to give her a hug because of what she did and the impact that she had in my life. And I feel that that's so important when you said we need to have that representation in the school and people who look like us to be like that. But the only way we're going to do that is having more black head teachers so the kids can see that I can aspire to be a teacher as well. If we don't have you guys there, they won't see nobody. As you said, they won't want to be teachers. And I think we need to get more of our kids and talk to our kids about going into education and what it can do and the benefits they can get from it, and helping and saving other people who look like them, and to make an impact, because you guys are making a big impact within the world.
It's a ripple effect. And just going back to what you said about when you said I was naughty at school. So it's like your identity then becomes naughty. Like you're saying it now, but you weren't naughty. The behavior was. That's a separate thing. The behavior is separate from who you are. And I think what happened there was where you had those conversations with you said your black male head teacher?
Male and female. So there's a male and female who both took time out to really sit me down, even during the lunchtime, even when I got detentions and stuff and I had to stay during my lunch break in a class. They didn't just leave me. They came and they spoke words of wisdom, I'm going to say, to me. Most teachers just didn't. They just sat there. I'm going to say the other teachers just sat there and just got on with their work and ate their food. They never come and tried to find out what the problem was or why am I behaving like that. And I feel that's so important, that sometimes the most impact teachers can have is taking that time to not see a child as naughty, but as you said, they're two different people, two different things, which is important. So no, I definitely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, the behaviour is communication.
Yeah,
So you were communicating in that way. They took the time to then sit with you because they knew that,
yeah,
and like you say, it takes time. Um, but also, like the foundation there's the understanding. It's
yeah.
very important.
So have you ever seen a sample where reputation in school leadership changed the culture of the school?
Say that again for me, please.
So
Sorry.
have you ever seen a sample where we're represented in the school leadership changed the culture of the school?
Yeah, I would say, have I ever seen where leadership has changed the culture of a school? Yes, in terms of decisions, it's now me,
Yeah,
me in my position. That's the most obvious one. I don't know why I didn't think of that straight away.
yeah.
Well, yes, because it comes down to the decision making, doesn't it? So
Mm,
the position that I'm in, I'm able to influence decisions and what we do. So in my school, I lead on coaching and mentoring and curriculum. So yes, I have a big say in what goes on to the school and what the children learn. Like there's certain lessons that they learn, what goes into the content there.
yeah,
Thinking about the leaders, how they've been developed, how we can develop the leaders across the school. So yes, I have seen that because it's currently in progress now. It's very present.
definitely love that. I want to open up the phone lines. I want to give people a chance to literally call in. So, the phone lines are open. And, I want to ask people a question who are watching. Have you ever felt overlooked for promotion in your workplace? Come on, because it's not just schools. In your workplace or school, and what happened and how did you feel? So the phone lines are open, which is 07471 539 533. Call in. Tell us how you felt, whether it was in a school or in your workplace, because it happens not just in schools, it happens in the workplace as well. So the phone lines are open. You can see it in the middle of the screen, which I said is 07471 539 533. Let me ask you another question. Are black teachers being encouraged to step into leadership or disencouraged? And we answered that a question already. And I know you were saying with Nadine what she's doing. And then you were saying the other side of it as well. But on your thoughts of it, is there any more that we can do as a black community? I know we have those groups. But is there anything more that we can do as a community to encourage our kids? Because that's where it starts from as well. To, when they leave school, are we having this conversation of being a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher? These things that we need to have in our community. And I understand that what Nadine and the other groups are doing. But is there any steps that we can encourage? Because I was talking about last week about supporting black-owned businesses. And one of the things that we were talking about, the culture of black people, where we're not supporting, sometimes we put our own people down. And one of the things that people were saying is we should start from home. But my thing is, how can we start from home if some of the parents have never been taught to do certain things, like about our culture, or promoting that love on one another, seeing yourself as a king or queen, if they've never been taught that? And one thing we was talking about as well is that we need our own schools. So our Saturday schools, after school clubs. So how can we encourage the community as well to step into these leadership or teacher roles, not just in schools, but even start in your own school?
Yeah, no, I think there are various different ways that you can do that in terms of supporting our children to do well and rise into these positions. Now, there's many different pathways. Now, you could go down the route where you start your own schools, but it's the crucial thing that we've got to make sure is happening is that the support network is in place. Because you could start your own school, but you've got to make sure that it's no easy job. Like, the schools that exist at the minute is tough, right? So if we're going to start our own school and we're thinking about the issues that we've spoken about in terms of relationship between parents and the teachers, we've got to make sure that that is tight first. Right, you've got to have that foundation first, that we're communicating well, we're all on the same page, we understand what curriculum and what we want our children to learn and so on, and then you can build the school. I think it needs to start as a group first to make sure
Yep.
that we're on the same page, that the support is going to be there before you can even go down the line of creating the school. Because really, what there's different ways, because I can see it from both perspectives. Do we need our own school? Or do we need to understand how we can mix with others in another school, but just make sure that we're represented and understood? And do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what
Yeah.
we don't want to do is go down the narrow pathway where we're so used to in this country, this is what I'm talking about actually, where we're so used to just one way. And I think it's really important that as a culture, I would say, that we understand the viewpoints and the different ways that you can handle things from different perspectives. We need to understand that. Otherwise, we could just educate ourselves with our own black schools, but then when they leave and they go out into the wider
That
world, for
mixture.
example,
Yeah.
it may become a challenge because of the things that they may be faced. So, as a community, I think it's important that the people that are leaders or in various different roles then go into the schools to show what can be achieved. I think they need to see us coming into the schools. They need to have the voices talking about what's out there, how they got there, their experiences, what it was like for them as a child, what they're doing now, and also to know that it's not a clear, straightforward journey. It's a thin line. They need to understand that. They need to understand that so they can build the resilience, because they are going to face obstacles. And some of those obstacles that they may be facing may not just be because they're black, it may be other kind of characteristics that come into play there. But I think the key thing is making sure that they have the role models coming into the schools, that they are able then to ask the questions, and no questions are off limits as well. Because sometimes, when we have people come into schools, say, "Oh, right, ask questions about this." Why don't you just let the students ask the questions that they want to ask?
Mm.
Just let them talk, and
Yeah.
then they know what they need. So allow them the space to talk to the community. Allow that to happen.
Yeah. I want to also ask you a question about black teachers who are leaving the education system. I know a lot of teachers who are speaking about leaving the education system because the pressure of it and not feeling supported in it as well. What would your encouraging word be? Because they feel like there's not a pathway for them to go further in the education system. For someone like yourself who's got to that part of higher up, what would be your encouraging word to encourage somebody who may feel like they want to leave the education system because they're not getting that support?
Well, it goes back to what we've been talking about. If you leave, then it's going to impact. It's going to have an impact. So them leaving the education system, right? If we're talking about resilience as well, right? It's all different for different people, okay. But if they're going to leave the education, then it's going to create the same problem later on, isn't it? Yeah. So it's better that they find the support network, because there are other teachers out there that are doing it. Find the support network. You are not alone.
Yeah.
There are ways around whatever situation that you're coming up against. It might be a glass ceiling. You might feel that you're coming up against challenges, not sure how to navigate them. If you find your network, find your tribe, as people say, there are ways around this. But if you leave, then, we've lost a great teacher. We've lost another person that's
Yeah.
going to be there to represent and understand the children and so on. So, it's easier said than done, because it is tough out there. But this is why network is important. You can't do leadership alone. You can't do education alone. You just can't do anything alone. And I think it's important to find the people that are out there to help you, because we exist. I'm going to say it as a role. We exist. We're
Yeah,
out there,
that's right.
and whatever you're experiencing, there are others that have experienced something similar as well. So it's about talking and making those open up the network.
Definitely. And what advice would you give to someone, a young black person who wants to go into teaching and maybe become a head teacher one day? What's one advice? They're not in the education system at all. They've left college, they've left school. What advice would you give to a young black person who wants to become maybe a head teacher one day?
I think you'd have to kind of think about why. Your why is cliche, but why are you doing it? Are you going into headship because you want the title? Or are you going into headship to serve the community? They're very different things. Both two can exist at the same time, but
Yeah.
separately different things. Okay. So you've got to think about what is your main driver. Now, if you're going into it to serve the community, I say go for it. But just be aware that there are going to be challenges. All right. I'm not going to call them obstacles or any negativity. There are challenges, but there are challenges in everything. Choose your heart. Just choose your heart. You
Love that.
really want to go into it and serve the community, then you're going to do it anyway, regardless of the challenges that come up. Right. So that's
Yeah.
going to be much more of a stronger driver there for you. So going back to what advice I would give, I would make sure that they know that that's going to exist, but there's support along the way. Just go out, go into schools. So if you were, say, for example, 18, go into schools, work with young people, learn how to talk to young people, be aware of your boundaries, your personal boundaries. So you're not going to be their friends. You're there as a support, a guidance. You're teaching and leading the way. You've got to carry yourself as a leader. Think about your communication skills. Think about how you are navigating life yourself. Are you really demonstrating a role model in school and outside of school? Are you communicating well? Are they seeing you as an actual person separate from a teacher? What does that look like? What are your values? Are you conveying those values in everything that you're doing? All of those things are important. You're not just the title.
Yeah.
You are the person, and you're also influencing in developing other people's character. And that's important. And that will take you through, as well as all of the networking that I've spoken about before.
Love that. And how can mentors help black teachers grow and progress in the system as well? Is it good to get a mentor as well?
Of course, everybody needs a mentor. Everybody needs a coach. Everybody. All
So
right. So, with mentors, they're the ones that kind of have been, you always need someone to be a few steps ahead of you, don't you? To kind of share their experience and kind of tell you what pitfalls they may have experienced, the successes, how they went about things. You need a mentor. You also need a coach. You need a coach that is there to empower you, guide you through things, give you that space to explore what you may be going through, for example. So yes, mentors are needed, and everyone needs one.
everybody needs one. I need to get one myself. I need one. I definitely need one. I'm looking for a mentor. So any good mentors out there, I'm looking for one myself, So definitely put it out there. How can parents support teachers who are advocating for change, who wants to see change? How can parents support teachers?
Parents can support teachers by respectfully listening to them. Just as that is true. Just
Yeah.
as teachers are listening to parents, we also need to do it the other way around. Okay. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think say the question again. Let me make sure I'm coming at it from the right perspective.
So how can parents support teachers who are advocating for change, who wants to see a change?
All right. So it's about asking the right questions as well. So parents and teachers need to kind of sit down, and think about what changed. So parents need to communicate what change they want to see, but they need to understand why they want that change. It depends what it is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if they communicate that change with the educators are on the inside and understand you kind of why decisions may be made and so on. So I think it's important that again, it's going back to the basics. It's a bog standard thing, isn't it? Communication.
Mm,
Communication,
that's
but respectful communication. So when you're asking those questions, ask them out of curiosity. So not kind of like sometimes you may ask a rhetorical question that can come across as like you're accusing the establishment, the school, and so on.
yeah.
Ask out of curiosity. How are you providing the best education for our child? What are you doing to challenge them? So if you ask the same question, same words, what are you doing to challenge my child, as opposed to what are you doing to challenge my child? Very different. Same
Mm,
words. Just come in a respectful way. So then you're able then to kind of converse and have that free flowing dialogue, which we all want. At the end of the
yeah,
day,
definitely.
it's what we all want, isn't it?
Yep.
So it's about being respectfully asking the right questions. That will really support teachers in school and leadership also.
So, what skills do future head teachers need? And not even just head teachers, what teachers need that people may not realize.
They need to understand how to balance their work and life. Okay. Now, work can easily creep into your personal life, so you need to be able to set boundaries. That's what it
Come
is,
on,
isn't it?
I love
Be
that.
able to set the boundaries. So, yes, when you're at school, yes, it's a vocation, isn't it? You take things home, but you have to have those clear boundaries in place. You also have to have a clear set of values. Otherwise, if you don't know what you stand for, you're going to get pulled in all sorts of different directions. There's so much that happens in the school on a daily basis. You can get pulled here, there, and everywhere. If you're not sure about what you believe in, then you might as well just turn up lost and be dizzy in your school day. Do you see what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Yeah. So I think it's important that those are clear. If you're wanting to become a head teacher, I think you need to understand that you're not just going into it in terms of developing pupils for the data for academic success. You are creating young future leaders, young future whatever title you want to put to that. And that's the most important thing. You're teaching children or young people how to think. That also comes across in not just what you say, but how you're delivering things, your model, your behavior, and so on. Young people are always watching, right? So
mm,
you say one thing, but you have to be modeling that in your behavior, your tone, everything. So you've got to kind of think about it. It's not just a title. Headship, educators, being a teacher is not just a title, it's a bit more than that. And it's really down to character, thinking about your character, what you stand for, and how you're impacting the young people's character.
yeah. So, just I want to ask you a bit of a random question. Actually, AI is AI coming into schools, and how does the teachers deal with that? Like with this new technology that is coming into the school, so these future teachers are coming to school. Will AI have an impact in schools? And do you see a lot of kids nowadays using AI? Because I know this
Yeah,
AI thing is absolutely crazy.
yeah, it's scary actually. I was on a training course today where we were looking at AI from the perspective of safeguarding, which is quite scary what's out there. So I'll put that to the side, but AI is coming out at all different levels. So let's just first come at AI, artificial intelligence. It can be used to make things easier. I use that
Mm,
word. All right. So more effective, let's use the word more effective. Can you be used to make things more effective? But while we're using it, I think it's important for teachers to kind of get abreast on and understand that the world is changing and we've got to equip our young people with the skills to be able to question first, because I think critical skills are important. Critical thinking is important
yeah,
in terms of teaching our children how to, or young people, how to ask the right questions, for example, so they totally understand that it's not just the AI that is making decisions, they are the ones in control and putting the information in, right? So they need to learn how to be strategic and ask the right questions.
yeah.
It is a tool, remember? It's a tool. We are in control of the tool, right?
Mm,
So I think if we kind of come from that mindset, in my opinion, it's beneficial. Now
yeah,
the problem comes is when it's used in a way that you're not thinking and you're just using it to kind of do everything, right? So you might ask AI, to answer questions for you or do your essays and so on. I think what we need to do in schools is teach young people that if you do that, there's going to get to a point where if you're always using it to think for you, then what's going to happen to you if you're not exercising that muscle inside of yourself?
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
But if you are exercising your model and asking the right questions into the AI tool, then it can work for you and it can actually progress you quite well. It can be very effective.
Yeah.
So in school, yeah, it's used for planning, it's used to create resources, it's used for all manner of things, and it is a time saver at the moment. But I think it's really important that we teach our young people how to use it well, in order to enhance their skills or their
Yeah.
skill set.
And another one, just off the chart a little bit. With the AI, because we're talking about AI, they say that there's a lot of jobs now is being replaced with AI. So some of the customer support, some of like even down to the videos. Some people who used to do the videos now they're creating videos within where it might take them 6 months to do an episode of one sort of thing. Now they're doing it within 3 hours or something like that, or 10 minutes they're doing it and producing it. You might not can answer this because it might not be taught in schools at the moment. But is there, with the AI doing that, how does our kids going to be affected? Is school starting to teach different roles or different sort of jobs or different sort of skills now? Is that being looked at in school? And you might not be able to answer this. This is off the thing. But talking about AI, how do we prepare our kids as well? Because there is jobs getting lost through this AI, and yes, there is jobs being created as well from it. And I don't know, are schools talking about and looking at this of the education system, of how we might need to change the education system now because this is a new thing that's coming in?
Yeah, so currently the Department for Education has a paper about AI in terms of policy, safeguarding, all of those kind of things, and curriculum. Now, curriculum naturally, right, there's curriculum and then there's the way we teach things, right? So that's slightly two different things. So the curriculum has to catch up, and that's a whole body of work that will take a while to kind of develop. Now, I think it needs to be a continuous process, because if you've seen for us in the past 2 years when we're using AI, we've seen the rate that it changes, right? So I think as educators, we've kind of got to look at it through a wide lens and understand that it's continuously changing. If we teach the young people skills where they're able to make decisions, right? Be able to think for themselves and make decisions. That's the baseline.
That's the baseline. Yep.
Whatever comes at them, they be able to adapt to it. So we've got to teach our young people how to adapt and go with things. They can do that, but we've got to teach them, like I said, about making the right question, asking the right questions, making decisions, thinking critically about what they see. Is it real or is it real not? Do you know what I mean? What is real? Because that's the problem at the moment, where our young people, I see it in primary schools, they're working in primary schools, where they're taking things at face value and they're not learning to kind of ask the right questions. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So when we were talking today in school, like I said to you before we came on air, some of our children are going to a company to kind of voice what changes they want to see in the communities. So they mentioned, I said to them, think about what's actually going on now in terms of AI. What could a company do to support you with that? Because I said some of the jobs that exist now, you're talking about maybe being, I don't know, a plumber and so on. Some of these jobs that exist now may not exist in the future. So what is it that needs to happen?
That's right.
So they come up with various different ideas and everything. But I think it's about our young people now asking the right questions and knowing that they can develop those skills, because it's happening now. We're not going to wait for it to happen. Do you see what I mean? We can't just wait and say what's going to happen with AI and just sit back. We've got to kind of move with it. We've got to develop our skills with it. Teachers have got to embrace it and teach our young people how to move with it. And I think that's all we can do, really.
Yeah. AI is moving very fast, and as you're saying, today it could teach you it could be done in one way. Tomorrow it can come up with a whole new way that you need to prompt it, or you need to, they look at it, it can do, where now you can use your phone to take a picture and it can do certain things with that picture and tells you what it is. You can take a picture in your fridge and say, you know, the food in your fridge, can I make a meal out of that? And it will tell you what meal you can make. So AI is moving very fast. So, you know, that was a question that I really just wanted to know, like, because I feel it's so important for the youngsters who are going into school, that things are changing very rapidly, fastly, more than when I was growing up in school. It was just on a, it was just on a, you look this way, you just walk straight, and that was it. Now, technology, job-wise, everything is to me personally, yes, there is job being created, but when I was growing up, I can only talk about me personally, there was more jobs out there. Literally, absolutely, you can walk around with a CV and go into the shop and say, you know, have you got a job? Nowadays, everything's online. You've got to do that. You know, it's all changed for our kids nowadays to, you know, go and get a job. You can go and get the biggest degree and still not have a good job, you know.
That's an important point. You've got to be literate and be able to communicate in different ways. Entrepreneurship is going to be much more of a way that people are going to be able to make money. It's not just going to be in an institution, is it, or a job or a workplace? It's not like that. COVID has changed that, hasn't it? You know.
Yeah, definitely. Even going into Tesco's or Lidl's or Aldi's nowadays, where we used to have the people on the tills and the checkouts and stuff. Now they're getting rid of that. Now you see banks are closing, where people were leaving schools and going into the bank industry and say, yeah, I want to get a job in the bank and work my way up. Now they are replacing them with systems. They don't need so much people. So I think entrepreneurship is definitely something, and what you just said is something that I think in schools and at home, because it's both as well, should be really talked about. And especially for the youngsters, I think there's more than just football and rappers and those sort of stuff, you know, doctors, lawyers. So I think those things are important to definitely produce out there. So what can listeners do after watching this episode and watching this today? What can the listeners do after to support change within the education system? If they want to see a change within the education system, what can the listeners do?
If they want to see change in the education system, what can they do? Wow.
I know you spoke about one thing about parents being, is it governing board or coming on board or something, what the school do? That's one way you were saying to do that, which is important.
It's asking, it is that. So you're talking specifically about, are you talking about parents or people? Because
Let's talk about people in the whole, because not everybody's not watching. Probably their kids are left school and stuff. So let's talk about people in the whole. After watching this, what can we do, say, as a community? You know, what can we do as a community to support and want to see change? We want to see our kids become teachers, lawyers, doctors, these sort of important things. You know, so what's one thing that what can we do as listeners who are listening today to this? What would you say?
It's going to sound silly, but the one thing that people can do is be present with the young people. Listen to them. I could stop there. You know, listen to the young people, what they're going through, what they're experiencing, and then address that.
Yeah.
We as adults, we can't just say, right, we need to do this, we need to do that. Listen to the young people, because they are the ones that are experiencing things. They are the ones that are growing up. You know, we need to listen to them. Like I said before about becoming, if you are a person, you know, you don't have to be a parent to be a governor. Be a school governor. Get involved. Volunteer. Go in. Share your experiences. Look at the curriculum on the school websites. How can your skills fit that curriculum? Phone up the head teacher or if you can't get access to the head teacher because it's sometimes very difficult, just email in and just share what you would like to do. That's going to make change, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you see things happening so some schools have their key dates and kind of things that are happening within the school. If you see something coming up to say, oh, I noticed on your website that in January you're going to be doing this about blah, 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 blah. Can I get involved? Ask the questions. Do you see what I mean? If you kind of think about when you want to see change, in order to see change, you need to make the steps as well in order to be involved in that change. You can't just say, I want to see change and just sit there. I want to see change. I want to see change. Make the step yourself. Make the step yourself. Step forward. What can you offer? So I think if you think of it from that point of view, if you want to see change in education, ask the questions and ask, what can I do? There are various places that you can go. I would start with your local school or become a governor, parent or community governor.
Definitely love that. You have to be part of the change. You can't just say you want to see something but you're not part of that change. Definitely love that. Would there be anything that you want to say, because we're coming to the close of the show about that time, is there anything that you would like to say to the audience who are listening today? This is your time to literally say anything that you want to say.
Wow.
This is your time.
I always find it hard when people say, right, go on, talk. I need some kind of direction. But I would say that when I think about education, right, I have to say it quite straight. When I think about education, I think that every child deserves a right to feel seen, heard, and just have someone that believes in them, right? So this is the main thing for me in terms of education. Is about developing character. Developing character is one of the most important things, a gift that you can give to a child, for them to be able to understand themselves, know that their thoughts are valid, that their thoughts are real, okay, things that their experiences are real, and that they should and deserve to be listened to. I think in terms of education, leadership in education matters. So it needs to reflect the diversity of the community that it serves, for example. So it strengthens the entire system. Okay, so if you're working in if there was a school and a majority of the population was Turkish, then it only natural then that the teachers within that school, a large percentage of them, will be beneficial if they were Turkish, because it breaks down that barrier. Like I say, education is about people, and we've got to see the people first and the system second. That comes first, system second. Helping children to recognise their potential is really important, giving them the confidence as well to pursue it, regardless of what it is, okay? If we give them the confidence to pursue their ideas, they're going to succeed no matter what. Because it's going to change. Your interest will change. If they have the confidence to pursue something, that's, again, a great gift to give. So I just think we need to think about leadership and education in that way. And I would say that my measure really of success isn't about the title. It's knowing that I've been able to help children or leaders to be able to kind of see the potential that they have and believe in themselves. And that's it. That's me done. As long as I'm doing that for pupils or leaders that I'm supporting, then I'm fine. I'll be very happy.
Absolutely love that. And I just quickly want to give anybody a chance. This is your opportunity just to call in, which is 07471 539 533, as we are coming to the end of the show today. This is your time just quickly to give us a call in. So have you ever faced being overlooked for promotion in your workplace or your school? And did you ever have a black head teacher in school growing up who helped you in, your school and stuff when you was growing up, and who saw a different side of you and encouraged you and helped you? So this is your time to call in, which is 07471 539 533. While you're doing that, I'm just going to quickly just show you the social media where people can find the Just Talk Black show. So I'm just going to bring that in, but I'm going to give that opportunity for anybody who really wants to call in. So this is where you can find us on the Just Talk Black Show. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook as well. We are on LinkedIn. And you have the Just Talk Black number as well, which is there, so you can contact me as well. We have our website now launching. And if you do want to participate and be on the show as well, you can call that number 07471539533. That is you guys as well. And anybody who would like to be on the show as well as a guest, you know, this is your opportunity as well. Call that number, which is directly in the middle of the screen. It's as simple as this, guys. You just fill in a form. We do a 10-minute test with you online to make sure your cameras and everything's okay. And that is it. Basically, we book you in. So that phone line, if you do want to call in right now, we are coming to the end of the show, which has been an absolutely wonderful show. All the people have been like sending good messages to you during the show as well, you know, saying the advice that you've given to them today is been absolutely wonderful, and it's what's needed. This conversation is what we needed, and I really, really do appreciate you coming in and taking your time as well to talk about this subject. And I just wanted to say, you know, it has been a wonderful conversation with you. You know, I've loved this conversation because what it does, it opens up doors when we have conversation like this to solutions, not just looking at the problems, but looking at solutions as well. So I'm hoping that the listeners will take on what you've said, and we will start seeing a push for more black kids as well to go into, or adults to go into the teaching roles and stuff, you know, which is very important, you know. And I recommend and I praise you for what you're doing in the education system. As I said, I know it's not easy at all, and I do want to say to any teachers out there, you know, I've got enough respect, enough love for you guys and what you're doing. If nobody ever told you, you're needed. You are well needed within our community, and I just have enough love for what you guys are doing. You know, meeting teachers along my path and doing this show, it's just been a really eye-opener. Yes, I went to school, and yes, I was naughty, but as an adult, sometimes we forget of what teachers have to be put up with today. Some of the kids, what they are coming with, and social media and all these sort of stuff, they're going home, problems at home, and certain things that they come into the school, it's a totally different ball game now. Yeah. You know, back in the days when I was growing up in school, it was just a fist fight. Now, you know, you're hearing kids getting stabbed outside schools and such. It's a total different world. So we need more of our people to come into the schools and to break up and to be, because some of the kids, they don't have fathers at home as well. They might not even know their fathers, and to have a black head teacher or even a black teacher in the school can help them along their path as well. People don't understand that part of it as well, that can help kids, whether it's a girl child or a boy child. These can help the kids nowadays. I spoke to someone who was in care leave, so they wasn't with their mum or wasn't with their dad, they was with a care leave and stuff. So these are the things that the schools have to put up with and have to go through on a daily basic, dealing with all different type of kids, you know. And as I said, I'm thankful for what you've done. You've come on the show and you've explained certain things which have been eye-opening to me, you know. And as well, I just want to ask you one last thing before we do close the show as well. For teachers who are feeling stressed and maybe not coping well within the schools, because let's be real, there's a lot of them who I do speak to, when the school's finished, they're like, oh, terrible day, bad day. And I spoke to many teachers, I'm not just saying one teachers or two teachers, what they have to put up with kids fighting in a classroom and some of the things. What advice could you give to a teacher who is feeling overwhelmed by when they leave the school or the pressure? What's one advice that you can give to these teachers who are feeling this way when they do walk out the gate and have to go home, and the stress and everything's just still on their mind when they've left, or even when they've got to go in the morning and go through the school and say, oh, I've got to face these kids again.
Yeah.
It's so difficult.
It's hard to give just one piece of advice, but I would say you've got to remember that you're a person first, aren't you? So you've got to kind of fill yourself up first before you can give to others.
Mm.
So if you think about what is it that makes you feel well, and uh, you think of yourself as a tank, like what are you going to put into your tank to make you feel well?
Mm.
Whatever that is, drink it, eat it, whatever it is, right? Pour into yourself first before you can give to others.
Yeah.
Because you're right when you say you're talking to people when they leave school and you feel a bit drained, but then it's at that point that you just got to pour back into yourself. You can't then, when you're feeling drained, go home and continuously try to kind of work at things, because you're just going to beat yourself down. There's only one of you, isn't there? Like, we've got to think
Mm.
of there's only one of us. In order for us to be effective, we've got to look after ourselves, and no one's going to look after you but you. So I think it's important that teachers, if they're feeling overwhelmed, they pour into themselves. So there are ways that you can do that. There
Yep.
is coaching.
Yep.
Okay, look for a mentor. I think it's important. Once you start to recognize the signs, you kind of reach out and talk to others. So you could get a mentor, whether it's in your school. I think sometimes it's better to have someone outside of the environment so you can get an objective view and learn that there are different ways to do things, because all schools are very different environments. Okay, so I would suggest getting a mentor to reach out and do that. And equally, to if a mentor is not what you want, so thinking about a mentor tells you what to do through their experience, or you could get a coach. I'm a coach. You can get
Yeah.
in touch with me.
Definitely.
I'm a coach that can support leaders, teachers, anybody I can support. Then it's just kind of having that space. And sometimes it is that. Take a break, rest yourself. Okay? Rest yourself. You can't keep going. You
Mm.
can't. Well, that you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's so obvious, but we try to do it, don't we? As educators, this I'm talking to, we try
Yeah.
to pour from an empty cup. Drained. Remember, we're saying drained. So drained means there's nothing there, but we're still trying to carry on. Now
Mm.
you got to put something, haven't you? You've got to put it back in. So that is my advice. When you feel it, and you need to start to recognize it for yourself as well. You don't all of a sudden drained, are you? Not all of a sudden empty. You don't go from full to empty. There's a process. So
Yeah.
it's about you being aware of yourself, you regulating yourself, understanding how you operate, having that awareness, and then taking that action. Taking
Mm.
that action to how you're going to fill yourself up. Because our presence in education is powerful. So we can't underestimate that, but we've got to make sure that we are well first before we can serve others.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely love that. I'm going to ask you the most famous question I ask everybody before the show closes. If you could host a table with any black person, living or past, who would that be and why?
All right, two answers. I'm going to do one answer, but then I'll go into another answer. When I think about this question, right, I always think, because I play this game as well. I've played this game with my brother. Like
Yeah.
three people on the table. Who could it be? One has to be around possibly. So my dead person, in terms of who would it be, and I would say Jesus. So your question's slightly different when you're thinking about a black person, but still
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I think Jesus was black. We think about history and all of that, right?
Come on. That's what I say. Come on.
So mine would be Jesus, and there's so many questions that I'd ask him, like get into the mind. I'm so nosy. I like to understand how people work. So that's one, but I'll leave that could be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
So in terms of this, it's going to surprise people what my answer is. But if you know me, you understand that I love language and I love understanding how things work and, all of that kind of stuff. So my person that I would like to kind of have at the table and have a host with is a Carla, because he is great with language. He
Yeah.
brings history, politics, culture, and he kind of explains it in a way that makes it accessible for people. He's got a
Yeah.
wealth of knowledge. He's the way that he articulates things is to various different audiences. He's able to command all sorts of ages, all sorts of demographics, and communicate the same message in different ways,
Yeah.
whether it be through rapping, through his book, through interviews. So I would have a Carla. I'd love to host something
Who's
with
that?
her.
Who's that?
So do you remember do you remember Miss Dynamite? Do you remember
Yeah.
her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Her brother. So
Okay.
Carla has written a book called Native. So he's really into looking at the relationship between history, politics, and how that has structured society, and looking at it from the perspective of Black culture,
Yeah.
what things that are in place and what's happening today, and like empowering people.
Yeah.
So yeah, my person, look him up later, Akala.
Okay.
Yes, I will him because he fascinates me, absolutely fascinates me. And I think about stereotypes, right? So people wouldn't, when he's sometimes sitting on panels, because of how stereotypes work, they might not think that he'll be able to kind of hold an audience or be able to communicate his ideas. But like I said, he communicates across all audiences. People listen because of the language that he uses. So yeah, I would have him.
Okay. Would you tell me to understand? Okay. That's good, and I love that. Absolutely, I'm gonna have to definitely look that up. Definitely, but as I said, I really do appreciate you coming on the Just Talk Black show. It has been an eye opener and a wonderful conversation with you. You have taught me so much today, which is appreciated. And as I said, I'm hoping the listeners will taking some stuff and taking some solutions, because I always believe in solution. Yes, we have this problem, and there is a statistic out there of what's saying a percentage of teachers, but we can change that, and we're the only people who can really change that. I always believe in making a change within ourselves and stop waiting for other people to do the change for us. To me, we're the only people that can do that. If we're waiting for the government, if we're waiting for the schools, then be waiting for a long time. That's personally what I see. I see in self-doing, and as a community and as a people, we have to self-do. We have to encourage our kids to do these sort of things, to be teachers, lawyers, doctors, many different things. Times are changing, and we need to look on how we can advance as a community as well, and how we can move forward. So I do appreciate you coming on to the Just Talk Black show. It has been wonderful having you on today, and you have done an absolutely wonderful job today. Really do appreciate you for coming on the Just Talk Black show.
Can I say one last thing? So I'll
Definitely.
just say that change starts with awareness, but it grows through action. So I'll just leave that there.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, so thank you for coming on the Just Talk Black show today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Literally, guys, and that is it for the Just Talk Black show. I have enjoyed that. Wow, it has been an eye-opener for me today to have our guest on the show today. It has been an eye-opener. So for the newcomers, and if you are new, I really do appreciate you coming on the Just Talk Black show and watching and supporting us through the times. And if you are a regular on the Just Talk Black show, I am sending a big love out to you as well. As I'm going to say to people, please, do support the channel. Do subscribe, guys. Please do subscribe. It has been an amazing. And if you got any topics that you want to see the Just Talk Black show talk, you can send me a WhatsApp message on the same number, which is on the right hand side, and just say, DJ Purpose, can we see a topic on this? So audience, I am giving you a chance to tell me what topics that you guys want to talk about and what topics you want to see. There's many interesting topics that are coming up, so as well, let me just let you know about next week's show. So next week we have Leon Brown talking about Forex. If you are interested in Forex, then this is your time. This is your time, guys, to literally learn about Forex and what it can do for you. I am starting to learn Forex, and I'm learning from Leon as well. So I am very interested in this conversation that I'm going to be having with Leon. Forex, it is a field that you can get into, and I believe anybody can do it, but it just puts in the work, the time to do it as well. So if you have a friend, if you have family members who are interested in Forex, please send them the link and just say, you know, next week, Thursday at 7:30 p.m, we will be having Leon Brown on the Just Talk Black show talking about Forex. And then the week after, we're going to be having a guest from America. Wow. Big global from America, guys. We are pushing this global now. We are going global. You know, we've had someone from Ghana, and the next 2 weeks, as I said, we're having a young lady who is going to be talking about relationship, and that is going to be talking about healing, guys, before you go into a next relationship. How much of us go into relationship and we have not healed? So that one I'm going to be looking forward to as well. You know, it's going to be very interested to watch. And yeah, definitely, you know, what an inspired woman should be on a TV. Come on. I mean, this is what it's about, our community, and our guests done absolutely wonderful today. So a big shout out to our guests who came on the show today, and a big shout out to you guys. And what I am going to say to you guys, subscribe, as I always say. But as well, get those thumbs up. Let's get those thumbs up, guys. If you can like the channel as well, it helps pushes that out as well. This will go strictly directly onto YouTube straight after. So if you have missed it and you really want to watch it, you can do that. You can go back and watch that. And as I said, if you are new, thank you for watching the Just Talk Black show. And I really do appreciate you guys as well. And as I always say, next week, Thursday, guys, 7:30, we will be here. And I will be bringing out an album of the Just Talk Black show music as well. So you could check out, I will be posting them on the YouTube channel. So every show I do, guys, you can listen to a song after the show, what talk about the topics that we are talking about. So if you haven't noticed, listen to some of the shows, and right at the end of the show, guys, I literally make songs that are representing the topics that we are talking about. So listen to the end of this and you will hear one of the songs that I'm done as well. So guys, thank you for watching the Just Talk Black show. Appreciate it. Enough love to the kings and the queens. You are kings and you are queens. Have a wonderful day.
They told us to sit down, but our children are watching. So tonight, rise. Classroom full of dreams and questions, young minds searching for direction, but they rarely see a face that reminds them who they can be. Walking halls with silent pressure, working twice as hard for lesser. Still we stand and still we lead, planting every single seed. Every child deserves to see leaders that look like you and me. So we stand up, speak loud for the future now. Voices rise, we won't be quiet. Like the fire, we ignite it. Every child deserves a throne, leadership that feels like home. Hands high, let the truth shine. This is our moment, this is our time. From the classroom to the sky, watch our voices rise. Watch our voices rise. It's the written in the struggle, still we push through every hurdle. Every lesson, every fight, bringing darkness into the light. Oh, young kings and queens are watching every move and every option. So we teach them how to lead, planting power in the seed. If they can't see it, how can they believe it? So we open doors, we break the ceiling for every child still dreaming. Voices rise, we won't be quiet. Light the fire, we ignite it. Every child deserves a throne. Voices rise.